Welcome back to Punching the Clock, everybody. Episode 7. Once again, Eric is slacking on the job. He's in Paris this week, so it's just going to be me and Last Round Luz, also known as Hayden Luz. Flagrant Sports, also known as Jensen Lord. We're back at it.
Why'd you poke yourself like that, man?
We're going to be recapping the fight night that we just watched in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Reluctantly.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't mean to cut you off, but I just want to say something before I forget it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything against that venue, all those fans, or anything like that. And I'm reluctant to say the UFC should never come back there, but that commission was abysmal. Especially just to singleize it on one thing. The referee job was just again abysmal. So. I wouldn't be too excited to see if they mock North Carolina on that calendar coming up soon. I wouldn't be looking forward to it.
Yeah. No, I didn't get a chance to watch the full card. I watched most of the main card, like the last 4, 5, or basically the whole main card. I was at dinner. We celebrated Mother's Day early, so I just had the phone on my lap, just watching.
No, I got that.
Almeida.
I've done that. I've done that before. My uncle got married, and I was watching Cyril Gahn versus Alexander Volkov.
You got to. You got to, dog. Yeah. Well, anyways, we're gonna be recapping that card. We're gonna be previewing McGregor versus Chandler. Just a little preview. We're gonna be talking about Figueiredo versus Cape falling through. We're gonna be doing our beef of the week. And then, yeah, that should be do it. I don't know if we have any questions. I don't think we have any questions, do we?
I forgot to have a look. I posted it, but there probably wasn't any questions.
Hate to see it.
You do.
I could always check right before, but so yeah.
Can I cut you off just right before we get into the business?
Sure.
I don't understand because you're always honestly, sometimes you seem to forget to skip the intro when the Rays are doing good and the Blue Jays are doing good and stuff. But what's the current score of the Yankees game right now?
It is 6-0 Yankees.
Right. And who are they playing?
The Jays.
Oh, that's right. You ain't here to defend themselves.
That's crazy.
Carry on. I just wanted to address at the top of the show because I feel like you just casually glanced by it, and I feel like they needed to be looked upon. We may be last in the division right now, but still a lot of ball left to be played.
No, you're right. I completely forgot to to do our kind of weekly AL East things. I meant to do it. I literally sent I was literally mocking Eric in the group chat. I forgot to say it, but thank you for reminding me. Yankees still on top, or not Yankees. Fuck am I talking about? Y'all suck.
No.
The Rays still on top. Best record in the entire league, let alone the AL. Let alone the AL East.
It's just a stacked division. You know what I mean? The third place team in our division could be first place in a lot of other divisions. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and then of course y'all have the best team in the history of the MLB at number 1, so that's pretty good.
A different sport big and end up like the Bruins having the best season and choking in the first round. Speaking of that, let's talk about my Knicks, right? No, let's not. We don't have to talk about it. I just want to give my Knicks. What are these?
Oh my! Participation trophy.
Just mate, watching this Knicks team.
We lost to the 8th seed.
I was having flashbacks from 1973.
Jesus
Ozzie
Christ.
Schechner when we won our ring.
Clyde Frazier.
Yeah, it's Clyde Frazier. I don't even think he was. Was he on that team at that time?
Yeah, him and sure. Earl the Pearl, right?
Sure, Earl the Pearl. But anyway,
or Willis Reed.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You know what I mean? 2012 was another one of my favorite teams, but. I just wanted to give the Knicks a little bit of credit that they deserve.
Sure. I mean, I'll give it to you. That's cute. Well, anyways, Lakers are going to the Western Conference Finals, so different standards.
You found the Lakers in the bottom of your cereal box yesterday morning. Relax, bro. You don't even need me 3 players on the Lakers besides LeBron and AD. Well, let's take a back seat and let's get into the action.
Hey, let's compare football teams if we really want to get, but we're not.
You see this keychain? This keychain's probably older than you, kid.
Hey, we can play that game if you want. We can play that game.
Mine has a lot more wear and tear.
Hey, yeah, mine's fresh though.
All right, let's not get into the keychain game. Let's get into the business.
Anyways, Jelton Almeida submits Biggie Boy Jorginho. Is it Rosenstruck or Rosenstrike? I've heard people say.
I say Rosenstrike.
Okay, we'll say Rosenstrike. Let's be American. Submits Jairzinho Rosenstrike via first round rear naked choke. What did you think of this performance? For me, I felt like it wasn't anything too surprising. I feel like that's kind of what we expected out of this. But what did you think, Hato?
So, I don't want to yeah, like when the fight was over, I wasn't shocked. You know what I'm trying to say? But I did expect. I would be lying if I said I didn't expect a little bit more from Rosenstrike. I had lots of hopes when he was able to stuff that early takedown, and then he saw that front kick coming when he backed up against the cage. I thought he was doing a lot of good work early, putting Almeida on the back foot and stuff. But unfortunately, it was kind of a little reminiscent of Habib, the way he just took a shot at the ankles, you know what I mean? Rolled the body lock up and was able to get into that three-quarter position. It forced either go to your belly or your back, and then he chose to get rear naked choked. You know what I mean? It's like I said in my video that 400 people saw, I don't want to call myself a hater of Almeida because I take pride in saying I really don't hate anybody in the UFC. You know, it takes a lot for me to hate somebody. I just have a tough time gravitating towards the guys that everybody want to ride for. And I think it's a little soon to do that, even though we've seen nothing but dominance, almost Hamza reminiscent of that.
Yeah.
But with that said, we haven't seen him go against the level of competition for him to be tested. But also with that said, you can only fight with what's given. In the heavyweight division, there's not too many contenders that's going to give him that type of problem consistently. Show the Tom Aspinall, show the Curtis Blades. But even the Spivaks, I think that's the fight they're going to do next. Not the hot topics already. But I think there are some tough matchups for him. But outside of those few couple names, I think he does that to a lot of guys in the heavyweight division, like Derek Lewis. I think Tuivasa was a good call out because he probably does that to Tui as well.
Yeah.
But we'll see. What do you think?
Well, I think with how kind of poor heavyweight grappling is, I think he could do that to a lot of people. Like you said, Tuivasa, that's a good matchup for him because Tuivasa is still a pretty high-ranked guy. So I feel like he could make quick work of that. Maybe. I mean, we'll see. You never know.
I wouldn't count Tai Tuivasa out completely, but
yeah, there's still a lot of question marks with Almeida's game. So like, if Tuivasa is able to stuff a couple takedowns, we haven't seen much striking from Almeida really at all. So
sure.
What if he just completely sucks on the feet, and Tai just cracks him? I mean, at the end of the day, he's still a I guess small-ish heavyweight. So if he runs into a guy with like a really physical clinch game, like let's say like a Tai Tuivasa, or someone who can crack like Tai Tuivasa, there's like
Sorogan, Sergey Spivak,
Curtis, like there's guys that could be really physical and really powerful with him, and we just don't know yet.
When you think, sorry, not to cut you off, but
No.
I feel like don't get me wrong, there are some of the best heavyweights were the limit 265. But some of the greatest guys you think of, like I'm old head here, but Andrei Arlovsky, Stipe, those guys weren't massive heavyweights. They were like 235, 240. They weren't massive heavyweights. Sorogan, 246, massive heavyweight. You know what I mean?
No, you're right.
I feel like you don't necessarily need to be 265. And I have a video coming out actually tonight about being a weight bully, and I actually touch up on a lot of points to that. But I'll let it be as it is right now.
No, yeah, you're right. I mean, you think about like the past heavyweight champs. The only ones I can think of that were at the 265 limit are like Francis and then like Brock. And
Mark Coleman,
but that was a long time ago. I mean,
Yeah,
literally
yeah,
the
yeah.
first
I'm just
ever
thinking
heavyweight champ.
But there's 28, 26 or whatever, how many heavyweight world champions. So I'm sure there's been quite a few. Tim Sylvia was a bigger guy.
Yeah.
Randy Couture was. Randy wasn't the
No,
biggest.
Randy
of
was a
guys either,
small
but-
heavyweight.
Yeah, he was kind of like a shit brick house though, wasn't he? But he was about 240, 245, if I'm not mistaken. But
Maybe.
again,
But it seems to be like the sweet spot for heavyweights in that 240 range. I mean, that's where DC was. That's where Stipe was. That's where Kane was.
and I feel like somebody like I'm not Romanov's biggest fan either. But I feel like that's one of his best assets to his game because I was watching some of his film leading up to his last fight, and I seen him weigh in at 230, and I seen him weigh in at 265, and look basically the same. You know what I mean as far as like his abilities go. So I feel like that's a good asset as well to have. But then you got guys like I defend Chris Dawkins. But sometimes you kind of do think he's a little bit of a fat light heavyweight, right?
Yeah, you got to be like honest
So
at a certain
there's
point.
a line to it. You know what I mean? Like Jalton Almeida is a big bastard. You know what I'm saying? Like Dawkins is a big dude, but he's pudgy in the midsection. Like his stomach jiggles when he walks. Almeida, there's nothing that jiggles on him. You know what I'm saying? So no sauce. Pause.
No, yeah, for sure. Where were we going with that? Just talk. Oh yeah, like
We're just talking about.
if he just runs into like a big physical heavyweight, that could be a problem with him. You just never know. But also like I do want to see more of his striking before, or just more like I want to see a takedown get stuffed and him have to just work off that. You know?
Well, we kind of did see that Rosen strike. Granted, there wasn't really a whole lot, but he did stuff it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And the overhook and stuff it, push the head back,
Yeah, but
right to
like
the feet. But it
I'm
didn't
just,
last the whole. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
something like
But in my
consistent.
opinion, I don't know if you've looked at the heavyweight division as of recently in like the rankings and stuff.
Hmm.
I think Sergey Spivak, and I keep saying his name, but I think that makes all the sense in the world. Not to say that's the only thing that makes sense, but that's the fight I want for Almeida.
What where's Sergey ranked?
I'll have a look, but let's see how good I am today. 6.
6. Okay, so around that range. Um, yeah, I think that fight makes sense. There's a lot of fights for Almeida that make sense, but like I said, the constant like
Spivak, I'm sorry, Spivak is 8.
8. Okay, and then what was Rosenstruck?
Almeida's 12 now. Rosenstrike is 9.
So he's gonna take
So 8
the
and
9
9.
spot. Okay.
So 8 and 9. I didn't even look at it like that, but 8 and 9, yeah.
Do you think that the UFC would want to make a bigger jump than just a 9-8 fight?
I think they would try to. Spivak is a tough fight for him. If you know what you're looking at, Spivak is one of the harder fights for him at that rank, at that like ranking, if you will, like that echelon of guys.
Mm-hmm.
So Tai Tuivasa, as much as we all love Tai, that's a much better fight for Almeida.
Yeah.
However, Tai Tuivasa is not going to say no to anybody, but I think the UFC knows that, and I think they want to preserve him.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see why they may have Tai sidestep this one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wouldn't be super shocked if they were to make it. So
Yeah, so I think is Aspinall in the mix at all as far as
that's what's
the
fighting Tybura.
is that confirmed?
Yes.
And that's for that's for the London card, right?
The one that they're coming to London?
Yeah, every
For
year in
Leon,
like
right?
every year in July, I think in March and July they always go to London, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I'm not sure, but yeah, he's fighting Tybura.
Okay. Well,
I'm
yeah.
good with dates, but I'm good with matchups.
Okay, well then I guess Aspinall's out of the mix because I felt like that would have been a pretty cool
That's
fight.
great. Yeah, for sure. I agree. I like that a lot. I
You-
like that a lot.
You know what'd be funny
What's that?
is if they did Pavlovich versus Almeida and you just have the complete polar opposites, like up and coming dudes. Like one has all striking and hasn't proven
Yeah.
much groundwork, and then you've got all groundwork hasn't proven much striking.
Can we get a little off topic? Because that just reminded me,
Mhm.
in an indirect comparison. What's good with this whole Umar and Corey situation?
Yeah, so that fight, for people who don't know, that fight as of right now is in the works, and man, that's a very interesting fight, man. And also like
I just don't think they do that. Like, I think it's kind of a kick in the dick to Corey, if you ask me. Not to say it's a fight he can't win. He absolutely can win that fight.
yeah.
But that's not really a fight he needs right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's one of the harder fights you can take on your way to become on your way to fight for the title, and you already have an argument to say I can sit and fight for the title next. You get on a weaker scale, but you get what I'm trying to say.
But that's Corey though, isn't it? Isn't that just the nature of
And, yeah, no,
Corey?
no, no, no. I agree. But what is it that Umar has? I guess his last name. I think while I talk, that's why I talk slow. But what is it? What does Umar have that escalates him over all these other guys? And we're not talking about a light heavyweight division. We're not talking about a heavy. We're talking about the meatiest division in MMA, and I'll stand on 10 toes on that. Bantamweight is the deepest division. So what gives him? Not that he's unranked and jumping top of the line, like kind of like Hamza and Burns situation, but how does that work?
Well, I think when
Talk. I'm listening, but I'm gonna look at the rankings because maybe I'm off at the rankings.
he is, I believe he's 11. So if you look at
He is 11.
yeah, so if you just look at the
11 and 4.
yeah, that's a big jump. Well, it wouldn't be new because Song was pretty low ranked whenever he was fighting Corey. So this isn't like a new thing, I guess.
No, for sure. Rankings don't really mean much, anyways. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? For the most part, they hold a little bit of merit. But yeah, I think that's interesting. They threw Henry over Corey.
Yeah, well, you get that. You get the Nurmagomedov name. You get the finishes that he's racked up. there's a bit
He
of
fought Hani. Who's he fought? Like he fought Hani Barcelos and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. He's fought good guys. At the same time, who's he for, mate? Like,
right. No, I agree,
it's
but I'm just saying from the UFC's perspective, he's starting to get some hype. People are saying like, oh, maybe he's like becoming like one of the next big high-ranked bantamweight
yeah,
dudes who could
yeah.
cause
It's
some
just one of those
problems.
things. He has a push, is what it is. He has a push because you get guys like Jonathan Martinez who just bites. I mean, who just claws at the teeth. You know what I'm saying? To get
Hmm.
his position. He has what 2 finishes in the last 4 fights. He's won the last like 5 of his last 5. I think something along those lines. Don't quote me. But and he's just 14.
Hmm.
Umar beat Brian Kelleher at 45. I think it was Hani Barcelos he fought, and some no name because clearly, like you know what I'm saying.
Right.
I feel like I would remember it. But with that said, you're about to be top 10,
Yeah.
and then you got this guy that's just scraping top 14. Again, it's a push. It's the name, but to give him, I thought Corey was 2 for some reason. Um,
How crazy is it that O'Malley and Marab are 1 and 2? Like, who would have thought?
yeah, yeah,
Bantamweight's getting a little weird, a little wonky, a little bit.
no, no. All right, next subject. All
Okay.
right.
Well,
So well, my fault. So who do you? So I'm submitting Spivak for Almeida. What do you reckon?
mm, I want to say I think so too, just because,
You just
like,
want to backpack off my hard work.
yeah. But I think they might do the Tai Tuivasa fight. I think they might
Yeah,
just
for
do it.
sure.
But as far
Well,
as Rosenstruck, do we have any idea where he's gonna go from? He's in a weird position. He's what is this 2 in a row he's
yeah,
lost?
he's kind of been that gatekeeper his last couple of fights for the heavyweight division, but he's still obviously a guy that's very tough, and he's not someone you're gonna overlook.
Right.
What's next for him? Um, I'm not too sure. I'm looking at the rankings right now. Maybe I can't even pronounce his name. Number 14, Ivanov.
Mm,
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Either him or Romanov, but I don't think Romanov really deserves that fight. But we'll see.
Yeah. So I mean, not a whole lot for him right now. That's really popping off the page. He's kind
Mhm.
of he's getting a little not an older, but he's just he's kind of made his run through the heavyweight rankings. So now it's like
Yeah,
he's just I don't know. He
yeah.
appears to be
The
on the
blue,
decline a little bit.
yeah, and the blueprint to beat him is there.
Hmm.
So
Okay, well, let's get to the co-main event. Anthony Lionheart Smith loses.
why'd you say it like that? Why'd you say it like that?
Did I say it weird?
Loses. Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah. You said loses. Like, yeah, I feel like you emphasized that. Like, is there a reason that you had to say that like that?
I mean, he lost, didn't he?
You want to get. Oh, you want to get negative.
Oh,
May I remind you?
let me finish.
May I? No. I'm not gonna let you finish. May I remind you of UFC 237?
Is that when he got bitch slapped by
No,
John?
that's when Rose got dumped on her head.
Jesus Christ. Well, see,
Yeah,
why is
yeah,
that your
yeah.
go-to?
Yeah, but you want me to continue, mate? You like a fighter that has the mental fortitude of a 6-year-old, and every
She's the
other fighter
best.
every other fighter you like just can't make it. Max Holloway, Kamaru Usman,
Can't
like
make
they just can't cut it. They just can't cut it at this point in their career. You just like a bunch of losers. So who are you to come at Anthony Smith?
Isn't Max like?
What is Rose's last? She went out there and put on the worst performance in UFC history and has vanished.
She's
How do you
taking her.
defend that?
She's taking
Where
her
is she?
time, bro.
Where is she?
What did she do though? She just participated in the
I feel like she's
ADCC
gonna give
Denver
up.
Open.
Yeah, and she got submitted in 55 seconds by Jillian Robinson.
She came in third.
Oh, my fault. I'm talking about when she got submitted by Jillian Robinson. My fault.
Yeah. Calm down.
Yeah, 55 seconds. Jillian
Dude,
Robinson.
your favorite fighters are literally journeymen. Michael
Robert Whittaker?
Bisping, Anthony Smith, Matt Hamill, literal journeymen.
That's all right. I mean, top of the
And
pack though.
and you're gonna talk on the strawweight goat. It's crazy.
Strawweight of a division nobody chats about. When's the last time you've had a conversation with your lads about the women's
Dude,
strawweight division?
strawweight's popping.
I could not tell you the last time I had a conversation with my lads about the strawweight division.
That's how I know you're trolling.
Yeah, I agree. No. First of all, I'm not. I'm dead ass with you right now.
Strawweight's
Second,
popping.
I don't disagree with you. That is the best female
How are you
division.
gonna talk shit?
I don't disagree. It is the best female division. But my question to you still stands. When's the last time you've had a conversation with your friends about the female division?
I don't talk to my friends about UFC. They don't care
We'll
about
get we'll get
UFC.
into when's the last time we've talked about it, but without you bringing it up?
I don't know.
Exactly, exactly,
The
exactly.
shitty Mackenzie Dern main event
Yeah,
next week.
yeah. Carry on, man. Carry on.
I
Ever come at
remember.
Anthony Smith? Ever come at Anthony Smith like that?
Okay,
Like
so
ever?
Anthony Smith loses to Johnny Walker via unanimous decision. Um, Hayden, I'm just gonna let you cover this for the most part. I mean, of course, I'm gonna be chiming in because I know this is your boy. You have
Yeah.
something about fighters with like 10 plus losses. That's like your thing for some reason. but
That was funny. That was funny.
so, what did you think about this fight? What did you feel from Anthony Smith's performance? What did you think about Johnny Walker's performance?
So my thing is with Anthony Smith, and I don't want to put him in the echelon of Max Holloway, but it's kind of a similar situation to what we were talking about with Max Holloway. Kind of his fighting years being like in dog years. He has
Mm-hmm.
over 50 pro fights, and it's not like he's 38. He's 34, and he's a light heavyweight. That's still quite, I'm not going to say fresh, but that's still on the younger spectrum for light heavyweights that can make it up to like 40, 41, 42 years of age. Think
Yeah,
about it, he still has at least 6, 7 years left. Well, could have 6, 7 years left. But because he has
perhaps.
so many miles, yeah, well, he doesn't, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
But because he has so many miles on the engine, I just feel like he needs that extra go. And that's what we saw in that, I believe it was the second round where he was just like having that conversation. And again, there's not a bigger defender on the planet than me when it comes to Anthony Smith. But even I was saying to myself, mate, what are you on about? What are you talking? Like, did I
Yeah.
miss something? Like, what are you talking about? Like Johnny Walker, like, I'm not Johnny Walker's biggest fan, but I couldn't tell you the last time I seen him chatting shit. Like he's just goofy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I guess that maybe could rub people the wrong way, but he doesn't like target people or point or do any of that stuff. So I feel like he kind of needs that in his fight career, and I feel like when you start to run out, what I guess what I'm trying to say is he's running out of motivation. Um, I don't want to do this. Oh, I might start crying, but very,
This dude, bro.
very very uninspired performance from Anthony Smith.
Yeah.
You know,
It's kind of sad.
just couldn't get out of first gear, second gear, whatever you want to call it. Mate, I love you. I promise you, I do. He just couldn't get. He just couldn't get out of second gear. He just has a kind of a career of not checking low kicks well, and I feel like good on Johnny Walker to pick up on that. He was good off beats with that. He wasn't just throwing it every time he took a step forward. He was just timing it very well, doubling it up well. But to go on from that and kind of take a little bit of heat off of Anthony Smith for a second, what we all want from Johnny Walker is the fighter I feel like he used to be. But credit to him becoming more of a patient fighter now, because he's winning fights.
Mm-hmm.
But that fight again, that's not going to get you a title fight. His Thiago Santos performance, that was a snoozer as well. That's not going to get you no title performances. Again, fair play to you, fair fucks. You're getting the dub,
Mm-hmm.
but you're going to be looked over every single time. You're going to fall into that Anthony Smith treatment where you just kept getting looked over. If you feel what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But I don't want to spend time shitting on Johnny Walker because he won the fight. He did what he needed to do. Disciplined game plan. But yeah, I feel like my grief is just basically with Anthony Smith, and my best wishes to you, brother. You know what I mean? I want to see him fight again. I want to see him in the winning column. However, I think his title aspirations are done. I think he might retire as well. Giving his stuff away on the way to the octagon, on the way back from the octagon. I understand fighters take their gloves off in the octagon sometimes. They just do that. I guess just to be more comfortable or whatever. But that looked a little bit different. You follow what I'm saying?
No, yeah, and especially given the performance, it's like, ooh.
Yeah, it's just one of them. And honestly, I think I might have texted you guys, but he's from Nebraska. That's not next to North Carolina, is it? No.
Boy,
No, it's like west. Yeah, it's west. No, never mind. And I was gonna say, like, I feel like that's like more of a culture he would want to retire in, like that country-esque. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that made any sense. If you get what I'm trying to say. But
I guess.
yeah, I'm kind of rambling at this point. It was just kind of both uninspiring performances from both guys, but just really upset to see from Anthony Smith on my behalf, anyways.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of what Charles Jourdain did
I was
last week.
actually gonna say that. It's funny you brought that up.
Like,
Sorry.
did what he
say it.
needed to do, like,
Yeah.
but it wasn't nothing that's gonna get you out of your seat. It's like, okay, you got the win, cool. But the story is kind of what your opponent didn't do, and for me, Anthony Smith, man, I really feel like, and I'm not here to say what someone needs to do with their career, but from my personal perspective, it looks like he probably needs to retire. Not needs to, but it's looking like it's looking towards retirement for me. I
Hmm.
just feel like he wasn't really receiving. And don't get me wrong, Johnny Walker packs a powerful punch, but it just seemed like he was not responding well to the shots being thrown his way. It just didn't seem like he was taking them well at all, especially towards the end of the fight. Towards the end of the fight, it just looked like he was sort of just quitting, to be quite frank. Like it just seemed
Nah,
like
chill on that. Chill on
it
that.
seemed
Chill
like
on
he
that.
just getting tagged and he was just kind of folding up. That's just the way I saw it. Um,
Yeah.
now,
Nah, like Anthony Smith is a guy that will never quit on himself. So I'll definitely disagree with you there. Um,
that's what it looked like, bro.
did it look like he wanted to be there?
Not
I guess
really.
that's a little. I guess that's a conversation we can have. But to say he was trying to quit and wanted a way out, nah,
No,
I
I'm
don't
not
agree.
saying he was trying to quit. It just felt like he was sort of quitting, whether
Yeah.
he was trying
What,
to or not.
what do you think is next for Johnny Walker? I'm looking at it right now, and the only thing I can think of is either Jan or Rakic. No, I can't even say that because it could be either Jan, Rakic, or Ankalaev.
I would love. I think that
I
this is
think him and Ankalaev would be a staring contest.
probably. I would love Alex Pereira saying he wants to move up to 205. I think that's the perfect fight for Alex Pereira. That's literally an alley
You see what I
oop.
did there, right?
Yeah,
See what
alley oop, dunking it. Dana White has the perfect scenario because, for one, what do you do with Johnny Walker next in general? Like you said, an Ankalaev fight would be a snooze fest. The Jan Blachowicz fight could be a snooze
Jo-
fest.
no, Johnny Walker can't fight like that against Jan or Rockets because they'll just put it on him.
But they, but my point is, there's a lot of fights after this performance that you just look at and you're like, this is a little bit unappetizing just based off what we just saw
Mm-hmm.
last. So I think for Dana, this is perfect because
For
so
Alex Pereira.
when Alex Pereira moves up, you want him as a promoter to have a favorable matchup. That would be against Johnny Walker. He's not going to try and grapple with him. If he does, he's not going to be very successful.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dude who has been knocked out in the past, Jamal Hill, all that stuff. And if you have a guy who just had a lackluster performance like that, what a way to really kickstart it back again. Be like, hey, you don't have a choice but to bring the action because like
Yeah.
this dude's gonna bring it to you. So I think it just makes complete sense, man.
Yeah.
You get a guy, like I just said, he had a boring performance. You can guarantee that his next fight's not gonna be boring, and you can guarantee that Alex Pereira is gonna have a good matchup. It's a win-win.
Yeah, I agree.
Because
I agree for sure.
I don't know, man. I just don't see Alex losing to Johnny Walker. I really don't. Especially at
Yeah.
205, man, where he's going to be less dehydrated, more energized, I feel like. And then also, one more point Johnny Walker, now with this win, he's probably going to move up like one slot, which is going to be. Or no, he might take Anthony Smith's place. So he's going to be like, what, five now?
So yeah, he's 7, and then he'll take Anthony Smith to his 5.
Yeah, so then Alex Pereira gets a top five win. So now you can
Yeah.
justify a top five or a title shot because he beat a top five dude. He was just the champion. I think it's a dream for Dana White. I feel like
Mhm.
it's an alley oop. You agree?
What do you? Yeah, I do. 100%. 100%. What do you think about Anthony Smith though? Because I'm looking at it. I was gonna say this is the time to do the Paul Craig fight, but he said he's going down the middleweight, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he'll stay for like if they offer him Anthony Smith, I think he would stay for that.
Hmm.
But I mean, just because other than that, there's nothing that's Uzdemir. They would probably do Uzdemir. But I
Yeah,
feel like just like rankings wise, because I don't think they do the Ryan Spann rematch, unless they do Anthony Smith against that Ozma character. But
I think probably Ozdemir probably makes the most sense. You know, if he doesn't
unfortunately.
retire, I think it's probably that. Maybe
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like if he's not going to retire this fight, I feel like his retirement's coming soon.
Agreed.
Maybe with a win or something like that, he goes off and
Yeah,
rides in the
hopefully.
sunset.
Yeah,
You kind of hope with a guy like that because he's given MMA his all, you know.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll say maybe they throw him Reyes, but
I don't know. I wouldn't be mad at
anyways,
that.
yeah.
But also like Anthony Smith, just a quick appreciation for him. He's been a promoter's dream in a certain sense where he's always in an action fight. He's always
He's been
delivering
the
great
distance a half a
finishes.
dozen. He's fought 50 fights and he's been the distance like a half a dozen times.
Yeah, he's going
He
out
gets
there and he's performing. He's putting on a good fight,
hmm
win or
Yeah,
lose.
it's do or die for him. You know what I mean? It's kill or be killed. When Anthony Smith is fighting, that's why I've always had the respect for Anthony Smith.
Yeah, and he's a great
Um,
guy. He's a smart guy.
mm, so
Shout out Anthony Smith, man. We love you.
yeah, gang.
Okay. Well, enough of that nonsense. Let's get
That,
to
that made that made me happy. I appreciate you saying that. It
yeah.
made it a little easier.
Eric's fucking crying about his
Yeah,
Rays
I
or
know.
his Jays
So
sucking.
yeah,
Okay. Well, let's get to Ian Gary versus D Rod. As far as breaking down the fight, not a whole lot here. Ian
I
Gary.
disagree.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as far as the fight went, there's not a whole lot that happened.
Mhm.
Um, a first round head kick knockout from Ian Gary. Only like 2 minutes into the fight. Hayden, I'm gonna ask you. What do I even ask you here? There's not.
No, I
Were
would just
you?
love to talk.
Yeah. Were you impressed?
Yeah, no, very much so. Because it's like okay, I know I'm gonna get a lot of slack here because I'm not. It's not a direct comparison, but it was kind of Conor McGregor esque. You know what I mean? He said what shot he was gonna knock him out way, and granted, it wasn't a flush, stiff on his back knockout, but he
Pretty
said he was
close.
gonna break. He said he was gonna break him down with the right body kick to bring the hands down. Once he noticed that, he's gonna throw that right high kick. And what did he do? And he just followed it up. It's just a it's just one of them. You know what I mean? It's just a beautifully executed game plan going against a bladed stance boxer and D Rod,
Mm-hmm.
who's opened up for those body kicks and those head kicks again with the open stance. Just smart investment, starting low to bring the hands down and then bring the kick high to land that high kick and finish the fight.
Yeah.
Very, very educated win. And I'm not trying to sound like a bandwagon or ride his coattails, but I've always have been a fan of Ian Gary. Like even when people were giving him slack, I gave him a little bit, but not much. People were like, "Oh, he's just trying to be Connor." And I remember I made a post, make a post saying that he's his own guy. Like you can tell he's comfortable around the mic. It was his debut, and he was there. You know what I mean? Like he's been impressing me. You know what I mean? And he's one of those guys. He makes noticeable improvements with every single one of his fights. With this one shining the brightest for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because D Rod, before coming into this fight, D Rod was what 7-2, only losing to Magny in a controversial loss to Nicholas Dalby that I think D Rod should have won. So he could have been 8-1 in the UFC, something along those lines. So we didn't fight no bum. You follow what I'm saying? Sure, you could say maybe a stylistic good matchup, but he didn't fight no bum. D-Rod's there to crack. You follow what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. No, for sure.
So very, very impressed with Ian Gary. I like everything he says. His 6-fight like game plan and stuff like that. And I think Dana White's going to treat him right. I think Neil Magny was again an immaculate call out. Was the right call out to make. I think they go ahead and do that. And I think Ian Gary is would be favored in that matchup.
No, yeah. I agree. It was a beautiful shot. I'm excited
And the
to
kid's
see.
our age, may I add. Nuts.
Who is what?
The kid's like our age, which is not. Well, he's like my age, which is
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. He's got a lot of potential. Now I want to ask you about. There was a clip kind of floating around about Daniel Rodriguez after the fight talking to Dana White.
I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah, it kind of sounded like it was a little bit of a farewell from Dana White potentially being cut. You got any
Yes.
thoughts?
So again, we partially talked about this, but I don't like that cut word because I don't think cut is the right thing. He's not gonna re-sign. That's the way to word this. If and or buts was the way to go about it. Because I remember talking to you about it, and I was like, the conversation just seemed genuine, but it was the goodbye that really struck me. And I'm a big D-Rod fan. I always have been a big D-Rod. Like I said, some people can't even tell me about the Nicholas Dalby fight. And I actually broke that fight down. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a big D-Rod fan. But
You love that D.
I'm gonna pause.
All right.
I'm gonna be honest though. Like, if he was to leave, I would get behind him. You know what I mean? Because realistically, he's not gonna realize the title in the UFC. He could make more money fighting outside the UFC, fighting lesser competition. No, of course, no disrespect. You know what I'm trying to say? Kind of like what the Shane Burgos is doing. And even those guys are losing right now. So it's,
Yeah. Dude,
you know what I'm
all
trying
the
to say?
people
So
who
it's
have
like,
signed with the PFL cannot buy a freaking win, dude. It's so
yeah,
weird.
well, I mean, they're all 1-1. But
Yeah.
with that said, so I don't think it would be the worst of ideas if he was to leave. But I'm not solid. Like, oh, he's leaving. I'm not solid on it yet. Like, I still think he could re-sign because I think the UFC likes D-Rod. Because he did the UFC a favor. For UFC 278, was it when the Hamza and Nate
Yeah.
Diaz and so
Yeah, it was yeah, he did a big thing there, and controversial win, but a win nonetheless
yeah,
against a
yeah.
really tough Li Jingliang. Um, yeah, no, I agree. I think that them leaving or D-Rod leaving is probably the best case scenario for both of them.
Rewrite that. I don't like that. That's not a little harsh.
What
I know what you
D-Rod
mean.
leaving?
You said best case scenario that he was leaving.
Okay, well, it's probably it's not a bad deal for both sides, like you said.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I just took a little harsh,
Because
and I know he didn't mean it that way.
he'll probably go to the PFL. He'll probably
Maybe bare knuckle. Maybe bare knuckle.
maybe, I don't know.
He's a boxer. West
Yeah,
Coast gangster.
but I just feel like he is. But I don't know, dude. Bare knuckle, I feel like is such a tough sell.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I forgot who said it, and I don't mean to backpack on their take, so I apologize if you see this. I did take a take here, but I feel like they kind of. Oh, I think it was O'Malley. They kind of hit their peak. I don't like. Sure, I'm sure they're gonna get maybe a little bit bigger, maybe sign a little bit bigger of names over
Mm-hmm.
time, but I don't think they're gonna get catastrophically bigger than what they already are.
Yeah, it's
I think I
just
think I think it's good for what it is. I think it's super entertaining, and I'm gonna start watching it.
yeah.
But it ain't gonna overtake the UFC like people are saying. You better hold your fucking horses, mate.
No, if anyone's saying that, you're out of your fucking mind,
Yeah,
dude. There's
that and even one. I like one as much as the next guy, but let's take a chill pill.
well, like the thing, it's not gonna take over any like. It's just such a tough sell with the viewers, the fighters.
Let it be its own thing to succeed. It doesn't have to. Why does that always have to be compared? Just let it be its own thing.
Right. It's a fun,
And that's what
alternative.
one wants to be. Clearly, that's what one wants to be. It's his own thing.
Yeah, and it's refreshing because, like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, seeing like a couple Apex cards back to back with some lackluster main events, it's nice going over and watching a ONE FC and seeing like all these, diverse, fights, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
a grappling match, Muay Thai match, all these, and then some like over the top walkouts. It's fun, it spices the MMA game up a little bit. So I'm not mad at it.
Ooh, I got a fire beef of the week. I'm
Okay.
sorry, that was mad random, but I got a
No,
fire
you're good.
beef of the week.
Um, okay, so quick, you said you wanted to see Gary versus Neil Magny.
Yeah, I think that's the fight to make for sure.
Yeah, I'd agree. So,
Yeah.
anyways, that was the last card. We're not gonna preview next week's, guys.
You-
I
you
hate to
are-
break it to you.
I have a couple of. I don't have like, tremendous thoughts, but I have a couple of few thoughts for Mackenzie Dern and Angie. If you want to just talk about it for a couple minutes.
Yeah,
too.
just real quick. I have not a whole lot to say, so go ahead.
So that's fine. So Angie Hill's been one of my favorite fighters, male or female, but especially talking females. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I just really admire like. This sounds like I'm giving her like brownie participation awards, and like I'm not trying to do that for her here because I give her all the respect. I think she's a killer. But to take the losses that she took that she really shouldn't have, and still come back and be like, I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna fight. She's a gangster. And I just really like that figure eight style that she tries to use like Dominic Cruz. Nowhere near as effective, I will say that for free. But man, she is always in a fun fight because she is an exciting fighter. Now, with Mackenzie Dern, completely different style of fighter, but a lot of the same things can be applied to Mackenzie Dern being a very exciting fighter in her own field of jiu-jitsu. Because I remember a while ago I did a top 10 jiu-jitsu list, and you know me, I don't ever really it's not a sexist thing, but I don't really include girls in my list.
Mhm.
And bro, I feel like the top comment in my jiu-jitsu post was, "Where's Mackenzie Dern? Where's Mackenzie Dern?" People really love to see her work, maybe because of her, but you know what I'm saying. People really like to see her jiu-jitsu game. You know what I mean? So it's one of those classic, striker versus grappler matchups. Who can keep it on the feet? I think Angie has a lot of long-range tools. Again, lots of movement, which is really good for the takedowns. And Mackenzie Dern doesn't really have great up. Her takedowns aren't the greatest. So I feel like just generally put, it's going to be a battle of who can keep it on the feet, or I'm sorry, if she can keep it on the feet, or if it's going to hit the mat. So I feel like if it hits the mat, I feel like Mackenzie Dern's going to be a bit stronger on the mat. So we'll see, because we saw Yan Xiaonan keep her on the outside for 5 rounds.
Mhm.
So I think Angie Hill has the potential of doing that.
It's a good breakdown.
And,
No, I haven't given this main event much thought. I knew we weren't going to cover it a whole lot, so I really didn't look into it a whole lot.
Yeah, well, I
Um,
just did it off the top of my head, so I figured you know what I mean.
yeah,
You try.
it's a domer. No, I'm not gonna try.
It's Oma's University.
Okay. Well, no, that was a good little preview there. For what it was, a quick little preview. I like it.
I
Um,
want Angie to just to give you a prediction,
mhm.
if you want to give yours, because I'm sure you can do that.
Sure.
I want Angie to win, but I think I'm gonna bet Dern.
I'm gonna go Dern by submission. Why not?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay. Well, so we wondered. This one's gonna seem a little bit random, but it's been a slow week. You know, there's not a whole lot to recap, not a whole lot to preview. So I figured we just go over Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. That's gonna be coming up in September, October, around that time.
Mate, you don't have to make excuses to be talking about Conor McGregor. The people
True.
want to hear. The people want to hear us talk about Conor.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna be mad for us talking about Connor versus Chandler. Well, I guess it's kind of relevant because in like what 10 days the
Yeah,
season
and then a month.
premiere of Tough, so it's a little bit relevant.
It's like 2 weeks.
Yeah, so man, do we just want to get into like the just we can't spend a whole lot on this, but do we just kind of want to get into the X's and O's of it?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind, I'll get into it real quickly.
Sure.
Because I feel like it's one of those. I hate to say it because it sounds really casual to say, but I feel like it's who's gonna go out there and dictate their game plan better. If we get vintage karate Connor back, that Connor dissects Chandler.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not to say he's a Bellator fighter or anything. That Connor dissects Chandler any time of the day and
Yeah.
twice on Sundays. You follow what I'm trying to say?
No. Yeah.
However, the leg break, the time off, the inconsistent styles, you know what I mean? The coming off the steroids, the age, the damage, all these questions. That's just six off the top of my head. Then that's not even thinking about it. You know what I mean?
The motivation,
So,
you know.
And I know we're not talking about where we're putting our money, but from a bettor's perspective, I always say this: the person with the more question marks is usually who you're gonna go against.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't
I
always
agree.
necessarily lose, but when you're making bets in talking about confidence, you want to pick the guy that you're more confident in. So if you have more question marks, you're not going to go with the concept.
Yeah, that's one thing I've always pushed is like I always pick the people who have the least amount of question marks going into a fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with that said, style for style, in their best form, Connor slides through them and around. You know what I mean? And I hate to say that for the Chandler fans because I am a Chandler fan as well. But with that said, I feel like if that time off and coming off the steroid or whatever plays a factor, whatever you want to call it, I think if he doesn't show, kind of reminiscent. I know I do this all the time, but kind of reminiscent to the TJ and Corey fight. If TJ didn't come in 100% the version he was before he left, he was losing to Corey Sanhagen.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's one of these type of situations. If he doesn't come in 100%, it's, you know.
Yeah, because someone like Michael Chandler is the type of guy that's gonna make you pay for not being completely sharp, and that's the thing. Yeah, it's like if the timing's not there from Connor, if like the cardio, like the health, just in general, Chandler is the type of dude that will make you pay. Obviously, you saw him knock out Tony Ferguson. We saw him knock out Dan Hooker.
But
Like,
he has to get in range. He has the short wrestle arms, short
yeah,
frame.
yeah.
Connor's his best early on, his distance management.
Yeah.
And Chandler, he's not even fighting guys that manage range like Connor. And he's lunging into range with these big loopy shots.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine going against Connor. Connor's gonna hit that he's gonna hit that cross counter. He's gonna sleep.
That Connor, if we got we're obviously not going to see this Connor, but if we get the sort of motivated on his P's and Q's Connor that we saw against like an Eddie or somebody like that, oh my, even against Cowboy, man, if we see that type
Mendez.
if we see that type of Connor, man, he, like, I agree with you. He's going to pick Chandler apart. Chandler leaves way too many openings, man. Connor's just going to find those openings. If we see like a more mobile Connor rather than one who's just kind of like, I feel like against Dustin, we obviously didn't see that same sort of movement and whatnot. We saw a lot more boxy, kind of bending at the torso for counters.
In the second fight, yeah.
Yeah, and so I would like to see, which he's been training with Wonder Boy, so maybe that's a sign. I really want to see lots of movement from Connor. I want to see the bouncing back and forth, more sharp-bladed stance. I want to see that Connor back. Not just for a nostalgia purpose, but just for, I think that's going to be his best chance to win. Getting out of range when Chandler's rushing in, hit him, with that with that left counter, man. Just something. I think he could really just
I
dissect
don't know.
Chandler.
Like I'm just thinking like crazy in my head right now, and I think Connor could somehow hit a step out knee on Chandler
Hmm.
if Chandler tries to get a little crazy from an open stance. Not to say the single leg is there, but the single leg is a little bit more readily available, I would say, considering what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So with that said, if Chandler tries to shoot early, Connor just back shifts, throws the knee, or even an uppercut up the middle.
Yeah.
Mate, oh my goodness! Like in a world, I could see this being another 10-second knockout because I can see Chandler coming out with just being a tosser, coming out like a dickhead and just throwing like a Alex Pereira flying kickoff and just get absolutely swatted. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? He's gonna try to make up range throwing low kicks and he's just gonna walk into a left hand.
He's gonna try and create some crazy highlight or like, oh, I KO'd Connor in 10 seconds, and then
and
he's
he can do it because if he finds that button,
yeah.
I'm not so sure Connor can take that shot. But the thing is, like, he'll throw. He doesn't believe in. You know what I'm saying? He goes,
Yeah.
and he has Henry Hoof in his corner. You know, so it's like
It's crazy.
having one of the highest level Dutch kickboxing coaches in your corner, and you don't know. Not that he doesn't know, but you can't have steady boxing one-on-one defense.
Hey man, look at Gaethje versus Charles. He's got freaking Trevor Whitman in his corner. He's still swinging and throwing himself to the canvas. You know.
That wasn't a great example, but yeah.
That was a great example. Dude, you got Trevor Whitman in your corner, and you're throwing so hard, you're literally face planting into the canvas.
Speaking of face planting into the canvas, he was also thrown off a motorcycle 2 weeks before the fight that you don't want to believe.
Okay, well, watch the Habib fight.
What about the Habib fight?
He's still fighting like an idiot.
Yeah, he absolutely walloped his leg as well with like 30 low kicks beforehand.
He got finished in 2. Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Anyways, okay, so that's that fight. Then we're gonna. So let's get into recent news.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
No, forget it. No, carry on.
Okay.
I was gonna say who are you taking and why, but like we don't have to get into that right now.
I'm gonna. Yeah, we'll get into that later, man. Because I'm really torn on it, to be honest.
Okay.
Can I give you a quick question about this fight?
Sure.
Is this make or break for both fighters?
Off the top of my head, I think that's fair. I feel like if I was to give some thought into it, I feel like more so for Connor than Chandler. Because Chandler can just fight again. You know what I mean? Chandler's a star, but he's not a superstar like Connor. You know what I mean?
He's a little bit older, though.
We would be okay seeing Chandler fight Armin Sarukian. If we saw Connor fighting Armin Sarukian, we'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
It's a wrap. If he's fighting
Yeah,
Armin Sarukian, dude, just can't shut down the UFC.
Let's not get crazy, but you get my point. You know, we'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's some UFC 4 type shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that notion off the top of my head, but more so for Connor, I feel. Because if he, even then, because if for my money, and I don't feel like this goes against the grain, but in a world, I don't see why they don't do Connor and Nate before they can't.
Yeah. Because Nate's not doing anything besides choking out fucking street dudes.
Yeah, well, he's fighting Jake, but.
Oh, yeah. Come on
now. But you get what I'm saying, though. You know what I mean? I feel like they'll somehow, some way finagle a way for them to do that.
Okay. No, I agree.
But yeah, I got Connor, though. Like, I think Chandler can definitely hurt Connor. And maybe even submit him. But I got faith in Connor. We're gonna see, and I think the moments are gonna get to Chandler. I think we've seen the moment get to Chandler before, and Connor's gonna find it.
Okay. Right now, I think I'm just slightly leaning towards Chandler. The activity.
I would take your money, but I bet like 3 different people. So.
Okay, so let's get into recent news. The International Fight Week fight, I believe it was, Figueiredo versus Manel Cape, has fallen through. Figueiredo said that he's done with flyweight now. He's just going to move up to 135. So, Hayden, I'm going to say a statement. I want to see if you agree with this. This fight, to me, in retrospect and even before, was completely pointless and basically just a waste of time.
Disagree.
You disagree?
100% disagree. I can't disagree anymore.
Really?
100%. I cannot. That is such a silly take.
Really? Okay.
I want you to take. I want you to take that back, and I want you to reconsider.
Oh, I think it was
Because you're better.
silly.
Yeah, because you're better than that. Okay, so before I tell you why it's silly, let me hear your reasoning. So I
So
can have
I feel
a little
like,
bit of beef.
for one, there's not a whole lot at flyweight for Davison Figueiredo at this point. He's lost to the champ what 2 times now, and
Bro, there's so many surging content. Sorry.
he's lost to the champ 2 times now. They've already fought 4 times. I just feel like there's not a whole lot there with his age, with the weight cut, with the champion already having fought him 4 times. It to me, even though I don't feel like he was gonna have great success at 135, for me 135 just felt like the move. And then you go and fight at International Fight Week, and that fight just falls through, and it's like, okay, so you just wasted all this time just to do what you probably should have done originally. To me, just kind of felt like a waste of time.
So I'm trying to like see your side because I get to the points you're trying to make. So like I feel like rebooking it as much as they were flirting with it,
Mm-hmm.
maybe they spent a little too much time with it. But to say that fight was pointless off the initial booking is an atrocious statement in my opinion because there is so much title implications off that fight, especially for Manel Cape. Maybe because I'm so high on Manel, maybe I take a little bit in a biased way. But there's so much title implications on that fight for Manel. It's 2 top 5 guys going at it. International Fight Week, the week where the most eyes are watching fights.
Yeah.
That fight was a banger.
No, for Cape it
Bangers.
makes complete sense. For Figgy,
But
it was a
even the
complete.
Figgy, bro, because the Figgy goes out there and stops a guy, a rising champ like Cape, who's on this hot win streak.
What is he gonna do? Fight the champ for a 5th time?
Well, what is Max Holloway gonna do?
Okay,
At
but at
least
least then they've only
least
fought 3 times.
Yeah, but their fights, one of their fights have been competitive is because Volk was on sleeping pills.
Oh,
All of their fights have been competitive. Like I'm a Moreno guy.
excuses.
So all their fights have been competitive.
All of them. The second one where
Well, the second
Moreno
fight, no,
just,
that's why. Yeah,
and then the third
no.
was the
The
fourth
third
one.
was a little. I mean, the fourth one was a little.
I think haven't really been that competitive at all.
Two definitely wasn't competitive. Two definitely wasn't competitive.
Well then,
But one was obviously a crack, and three could have went either way for sure.
yeah.
But I would say, but it's one of those things where it's like you want to say, oh, those are the 2 best guys, but where does Pantoja fit into this?
Well, he's fighting for the title.
And that's what I'm trying to say. So like hypothetically speaking, I don't think we think this, but he goes out there and beats Pantoja. I mean, Pantoja goes out there and beats Moreno. Yeah, they probably do a rematch, but why doesn't that figure have anything at flyweight? I don't know, man.
Well, just with the weight cut and the age, man.
I don't agree with that point. However, I do morally agree with the point of 35 is his weight class now. The age is yes, I do agree with that point. So yeah, but to say that fight was pointless to start, atrocious.
Okay, well, to each his own, I guess. Agree to
No,
disagree.
there is no. That fight was very important for the division. Very
For
important.
Manel Cape, it was important. For Figgy,
Bro, if that fight wasn't important, they wouldn't throw it on International Fight Week. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, this looks like a good time. That fight was very important.
It's of course a big fight where you get what the number 2 or 3 guy versus the number 4 or 5 guy. I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But of course, in that sense, it's important. But for me, it's just like for Figgy, there wasn't a whole lot to gain there.
People, I don't care about you.
I don't care about you. He should go to 135.
Mate, it literally makes perfect sense. You're gonna tell me Kyan Obazi makes no sense now?
I don't know, dude. At least okay. But what I'm saying is Kai's still younger. He's not struggling to make the weight. For Figgy, man, it's just go to 135.
He lost to Moreno twice.
He did. You're right.
Decisively. So what's left for him at flyweight? Why shouldn't he go up to 35? Just to play devil's advocate.
Well, he's more of a flyweight than Figgy is. Figgy's kind of killing himself at this point. He's younger. So, it's just they've already fought 4 fucking times, dude. They doubled the amount of times Kai and Moreno has fought.
At the end of the day, I agree. 35 is the move for Figgy. But I also really much disagree to say that fight was pointless to me.
Okay. Well, what do you think is next? Okay, so who should Figgy fight at 135, I should say?
So 35 is a little tough right now because I feel like a lot of guys are matched up. But for Figgy, give me 1 second. Let me have a look.
Can I give you a take?
Yeah, for sure.
There's two guys I think would be really interesting. One of them's Cody Garbrandt
Yeah, and Dominic Cruz.
and Dominic Cruz. I feel like
Yeah.
either two of those guys I like a lot.
You know, it'd be a lot of fun.
Let me try and guess first. Saeed?
You're not gonna guess no.
Okay, what?
Giannis.
That would be fun as fuck.
That'd be a lot of fun.
That would be a lot of fun.
It's probably not gonna happen, but I think that'd be fun. But
There's great
yeah,
fights
no,
for him.
yeah, it's like I just kind of like I'm a big Manel fan. You guys know, like I have him being like the next flyweight champion type deal. I just kind of feel bad because that guy, you just watched the fight. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And this fight's been pulled out 3 times from him and stuff like that. And then he had Perez, and like this guy just wants to fight.
Yeah,
Just get him a fight.
for sure. Well, is that all we have to say about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, final topic, our beef of the week.
Can I go first? Just is yours MMA related or not?
Yes, but you can go first.
Okay, mine's not.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. I don't think I've said this already. Okay. Now, I understand all of us are different ages, and we all have our own version of nostalgia and what we all like. There is no such thing as a right answer when it comes to an opinionated question. However, with this opinionated question, there is only one answer. And I'm not going to say that right answer. I'm going to toss it over to Jens to see if he knows the right answer. Because if he doesn't, I'm going to show to you guys what I would do to you, but I'm going to do it to Jens. Jens, are you ready? Oh, you look so nervous.
I know, like, dude, what are you about to hit me with?
You ready?
No.
Who's the best Spider-Man?
Okay. It is clearly, as clear as day, Tom Holland.
Okay, good enough.
Oh, you agree?
Yeah, no.
Okay, cool. I thought you were about to be like, oh, it's Tobey Maguire. And don't get me wrong.
No.
Tobey Maguire.
It's the gatekeepers, bro. It's like you have your nostalgia. I love Tobey. Tobey was great.
I grew up on
But
Tobey,
mate,
man.
Thank you. But, mate, it's time to pass the torch.
Dude, it's just you're an old head at this point.
And
because
that's like saying Matt Hughes can come back and still do damage today. It's like it's time to pass the torch.
Yeah.
It's time to give it up.
Right, and it's like you know, I grew up watching the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I grew up watching the Andrew Garfield. Like, I've grown up watching all of these guys, and Tom Holland just does the best job at being Spider-Man and being Peter Parker. Yeah, and it also helps that his movies are great too.
That's a great take, Jensen. You know what? You get 3 brownie points today. That's a great take.
Thank you.
You surprised me. Now, I'm going to give you 1 more brownie point if you give me the correct order.
Oh, well, it's Tom, Toby, and Andrew.
Yeah, 4 brownie points.
I feel like that's the definitive order. Like, Andrew...
It's not, though, mate. I've had, like, life-threatening conversations about this. Like, people we get into fist fights. Like, bro, people swear by Toby and Andrew Garfield.
Ooh, Andrew's a tough sell.
The people that say Andrew, I don't put too much stock into that conversation because I look at you weird.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like those are the type of people that wore a tail to lunch. Like, you're a weirdo. You follow what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
he wasn't like it was just bad writing. I forget the guy's name. It was something Webb. Just because your name is Webb does not mean you should be writing a Spider-Man movie. You know what I'm trying to say, bro? Because like it wasn't Garfield because he's a fantastic actor. You seen him in Social Network, Batman, just great actor. But he was a punk. It was the furthest representation of Peter Parker that I know.
Yeah.
And then you get the comic book nerd. They're like, well, technically in the comic book, he was kind of an ass. Shut your fucking mouth or I smack you with your comic book. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, those are the docs to go back to my beefy week a couple weeks ago that I tried saying the book's better than the movie.
Yeah.
Shut your fucking mouth, mate.
Yeah. No, I agree. Fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, the thing with Andrew, you ever see the Martin Scorsese movie? It was called Silence or whatever with him and Kylo Ren? No? Okay, well, he was phenomenal in that. I agree with you. Andrew Garfield is a phenomenal actor. He might honestly be the best actor out of the 3. It's a little crazy, but he might be. He's proven the most, I feel like, acting chops wise out of the 3. What has Toby done? Toby's done Pawn Sacrifice. I haven't seen.
Tom Holland's been in a bit.
He's been in Uncharted?
Yeah, but he did another shit movie. I think it was called like Cherry or something.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
About the freaking meth or opioid dude.
yeah. So, but mate, when it comes to acting chops, like he's up there.
Garfield's legit.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. If anyone argues Andrew, it's just weird.
Yeah, you're. Ooh, I was gonna say something very naughty, but yeah, you're a weirdo.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was a good beef of the week. I enjoyed that. Um,
Thank you. That was the one I thought of randomly because I don't know if I ever showed you guys if you want to have a quick look, but well, let me unplug this real quick. I have all like my pops right here.
mhm.
I have my Spider-Man ones like right where my phone was, so it just made me thought of it.
I don't have a Spider-Man one. That's kind of depressing. Actually, no, I
I
do. I have Miles Morales. I don't know where he's at though.
I have Miles Morales in classic suit. I had like 100. I think it was either 168 or 172, but
Hmm.
I had a fuck ton. I have like maybe like 35 here, and I have like 12 UFC ones over there.
Quick question: who's the best Batman?
I'm not a big DC.
Oh, that's right.
I feel like the Joker is a better question for me to answer, but I feel like that's a pretty definitive answer, right?
It's Heath, and then Joaquin's right there.
Okay. Well, ooh,
Joaquin's
ooh.
close, dude.
I don't want to get crazy off topic. What's your opinion on Joker? Because I'm gonna shit on you. Because you know I had a life before MMA. I was a
Mm,
self-proclaimed movie critic.
I
What's your
like
opinion on Joker?
the movie.
Mhm.
I really like it. I just felt like it tried. It took too much from Taxi Driver and was it King of Comedy? I felt like it paid an
That's it. King of
homage,
comedy.
but I feel like it took too much
No,
from it.
if you like, I'll put it to maybe because I was a little too like, wait a minute, like, bro, I watched that in the cinema. I went, excuse me, I watched that in the cinema. I
Hmm.
went home. I watched King of Comedy, and I thought I watched the same movie twice. I
Yeah.
was like, mate, same
And
characters.
yeah, and Taxi Driver's very similar too, man. Especially like the
Love Taxi
atmosphere.
Driver.
Yeah. So I
But
but Joaquin was obviously phenomenal. I hate that it's getting a sequel. It just seems so point.
is it?
Yeah, you want to talk about Figgy versus Kate being pointless? Joker 2 is pointless, dude. That movie does not need a sequel. There's no reason. And Lady
Yeah.
Gaga's gonna be Harley Quinn or Joker girl.
Oh God.
It's so cringe. Joaquin's better
Yeah.
than this dude.
Well, what you be for the week before we get too off track with movies? So you know we'll be here.
My beef of the week is MMA related, and you mentioned it
Shades of the movie.
earlier. Um, it's with the term weight bully. It's not with weight bullies itself. It's with the term weight bully. In my opinion, it is a very rare circumstance when you can call someone a weight bully. Anthony Johnson at 170, maybe. But in my opinion, I don't think weight bullies even exist. I don't think that's a real term because ultimately the game, the sport of MMA is getting yourself to the lowest weight possible for most guys. There's the exceptions. There's Robert Whitaker. There's Colby Covington. There's guys that don't.
You're weird.
What?
Carry on.
There's guys
Bro,
who
'cause
don't.
you literally used the two examples I used in my video I posted tonight. Yo, weird. I use Colby Whitaker and Jamal Hill.
Yeah, those are like probably the most prominent guys. There's guys out there who don't sacrifice that cut for like a health and energy advantage, you know?
Judge, you're mad funny, bro.
Yeah, but so the term weight bully, the person who gets that kind of accusation the most is
The hater.
oh yeah, Pereira and Habib. Habib
Oh yeah.
is the guy who receives that the most, and it just doesn't even make any sense. I hate to break it to you, but everyone cuts some sort of weight in MMA. The only guys who don't are like heavyweights, but they're heavyweights. Weight bullies just don't.
No, they
That's
definitely call weight, bro.
some of them. You know, they get in shape, but they don't
Well,
really cut weight.
yeah. Yeah.
But the thing is, everyone's doing it. It's just the name of the game, dude. It's just getting yourself to the lowest weight possible. That's just what it is. Some people can cut more than others, and they do it, and that's perfectly fine. What's up?
So I agree, and I also disagree because I actually said this in my video. Like, for a long time, I was an advocate for the exact statement you said, word for word. The key to the game is getting into your body to the lowest point in the healthiest way possible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's for my money, not to give away what I was saying in my video. It's a pick your poison battle. There are guys, like you said, that defeat that purpose and fight more a comfortable weight, and they do well, like Whitaker, like Colby, like Jamal Hill. And then if you do cut a lot of weight, like say Fajita, your chin and ability to take a power shot kind of diminishes.
Yeah.
So it's not. But at the same time, yeah. What's the whole point of MMA? How do you win rounds? Damage.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to cause damage or the most damage? Hitting in a general form, hitting more times, hitting harder. So being the bigger guy, in a general consensus, being the bigger guy, do more damage, win the fight. In a very simple way of putting it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I get that aspect. But like I said, it's pick your poison where, yeah, you that may be true. But your ability of taking that power shot coming back to you may not be as good as that guy that you're throwing it to. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's not so much getting your body to the lowest point, because we saw guys that almost lose their freaking vision like Darren Till.
Yeah. So, no, there's definitely guys who cut an absurd amount of weight to the point where it's just like, I don't know. But I don't think the term weight bully makes any sense in my opinion. It's just the nature of the sport. If Khabib can get down to 155, he didn't miss weight for up until, I'm trying to think the last time he missed weight in his career. Was it against, I can't even tell you. He definitely did in the UFC.
Yeah, no, he's missed weight a few times.
Like 2, maybe 3.
Twice. Yeah, I think twice.
But
so was Cejudo, so.
But his most important fights, he literally did not miss weight. People were like, "Oh, his last fight against Gaethje, they cut it before the scale had time." Shut the fuck up. And yeah, you're right. Cejudo has missed weight a couple times too. Figueiredo, like, are they calling them weight bullies? No, they call freaking Khabib weight bully because
Khabib and Poirier.
Yeah, they're mad that Khabib's
that one
the
pisses
best.
Me off. People call Poirier weight bully.
So stupid. Well,
but one question before we get off here.
Yeah.
What's best Toy Story?
Best Toy Story?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the 4th one, believe it or not. I have yet to watch it.
Your judgment is flawed. That's not the right answer in my opinion, anyways. But your judgment's flawed.
But based off the first 3.
So yeah, your opinion is kind of irrelevant to me, and I'm gonna explain to you why.
I'm giving my answer.
See, but that's my problem. You had to think about it, mate.
What do you think it's 2?
You know me. I'm a big Disney Pixar guy.
Yeah, I love.
If
Pixar.
You were to say Toy Story 1 or 2, fine. In my opinion, it's 2. But the fact you had to think about, could it be 3? 3 was shite. Actually, it was shite,
no. Toy Story 3 was bad?
Mate, let's get into this if you like. Bro,
dude, we don't.
The story, we don't. But the storyline was so bare bones, like, so cliche. You've seen this before. It was so predictable. Like, the toys turned around. I'm like, we knew what was going on. Like, the fucking teddy bear being so nice to him. Oh, yeah, come to me.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, however, what saved that movie was, of course, the ending.
Yeah.
Because without that ending, movie was a very mid movie.
Although it can be predictable, there were some great sequences in there, like the escape and like the finale.
But I think 1 and 2 is chock full of them.
That's true. Okay, 1 and 2 are definitely better than 3, but 3 is not bad. Wasn't 3 nominated for Best Picture?
They all were. I mean,
really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they all. I'm pretty sure 1 and 2 won it, or 1 at least won it.
No, not Best Animated, but like Best Picture.
Yeah, 4 was.
4 was?
I think 4 was.
I think 3 definitely was.
I think 4 was because they were showing like the gloss of like Bo Peep and stuff like that.
Okay, well, anyways, that's gonna wrap up this episode. Sorry Eric's not here once again. Blame him. Literally spam his comments, say, dude, get your shit together. Hop on PTC. That's what we gotta start calling it now, because punching the clock's a bit of a mouthful. If we want to abbreviate it, we can do PTC if you don't want to type out the whole thing. So if you want to refer to us, do that. Anyways, follow us, Last Run Luz, Flagrant Sports, YouTube, TikTok, all that good stuff. Like and comment our videos. If you want to, I know we haven't done questions in a couple weeks, but if you want your questions answered, it's mainly because we don't have a whole lot of questions. So if you want your questions answered, comment on our TikTok page, comment on our YouTube channel, specifically our YouTube channel. We will definitely get to YouTube comments. We see those the easiest. Just anywhere you want to say, be like, hey, I want this question on the podcast. Boom. It'll be answered. As long as it's not something stupid. Well, yeah. Anyways, you got anything to plug before we wrap it up?
Like, comment, share, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your mother. See you next week.
Yeah. All right. We're out.